part of all of this and living with is the emotional stuff. And I look over in my mother's chair and I see Reverend Anita with her white hair, and I see my mother. She is sitting next to my mother. My mother's in that angel thing, so. And she wouldn't prefer to be in another place, and we all know that. Today, was yesterday the 20th?
Yes.
Was my grandmother's spirit birthday. And so I love to share these with Noel and his birthday celebration. He was such a fine and wonderful person. And I also wanted to correct what I said. Was it 2 weeks ago that Fred Johnson had passed? It was Fred Watson, not Fred Johnson. And there's a huge difference. Fred Johnson is the Performing Arts Center, or used to be, and Fred Watson was a nurse who worked with Reverend Sheila. And before I sit down and turn this over to my angel, Reverend Anita, let me say, put your affairs in order. I don't care how young you are, and I don't care how old you are, and I don't care if you're in perfect fit. I don't care. Because they had Fred's funeral in a place that he would have never gone. They completely commandeered, and they is the family, sister-in-law specifically, and talked about a man that they didn't even know. But the good part of this is that after the service, the pastor of the church came up to Reverend Sheila. And prior to, he had seen her looking at the plaques on the wall in the church, and there were all men, not the face of one female at all. And she stood there for probably a good 10 minutes just, looking at these. And so now it's after service. But the whole time she was speaking about not giving them a sermon. This was a celebration of Fred, the co-worker, Fred, who Reverend Sheila performed his wedding ceremony, Fred, who she promised 2 years prior to this that he would be doing his funeral. And she said, "Oh, yeah, I'm not going to end up doing your eulogy." And he said, "Oh, yeah, you are." And they just had a big joke. I forgot where I was.
She was standing in front of the
Oh, yes. So the pastor, see, I told you. STML. I get lost, too. Anyway, so he came up to her and he said, and he sat on the edge of the chair just like Reverend Anita, but he had his hand on his knee, and he was watching her. Everything she said, every word she spoke, he did not take his eyes off of her. And after service, he said to her, "Do you know, I noticed you looking at the wall of all the men." He said, "Do you know that you're the first female to ever stand on my platform?" Not only that, a black female. Okay, I rest my case. This country and this world is changing, whether anybody likes it or not. And the gratitude that we have for this great country. All of the people in Galveston and all where the hurricane is hit and all over the world, people are helping people to do things, to put them back, because there's so much shattering. And I think if you are going through this emotional roller coaster, it's because you're empathetic and you were picking up on all of the grief and everything, because for the grace of God, go I. We live in Hurricane Alley. How many years have we fended this off and protected this area? And you can call me cuckoo. Fine. The proof is in what the master teachers have not been wrong yet, right? Even the last 18 years of political elections, they have not been wrong. Ever. Ever. Even when we did the blessing of the children, who knew 60,000 Chinese children were going to be the cause of the women revolting in China that we talked about, 2 weeks ago? Was not that message come through to pray for those children? You're in this room, don't you remember? Pay attention. Pay attention, because this is what you are praying for, the changes that are coming, because we are moving into what? A new consciousness, 2012. And with that, Reverend Anita Bruce.